Ready? We are live. What's up, everybody? Disturbed here, day of release. Asylum is unleashed. This is our web chat. Talking to you. Send in questions. We will try to answer.
First question from Blind Mag. What is the song you love performing the most?
Oh, God, I hate that question. And the reason that we hate the question is because we get asked it a lot. And the reason why we never are able to answer it thoroughly is because we really have a unique appreciation for every single one of the songs, particularly from a live perspective. Some of them are a little bit more energetic, but all of them really, specifically this set, especially since we have to condense it down to 65 minutes for this Uproar tour, it's really a greatest hit set with a couple pieces of the new material in it. And the two new pieces of material have already had a lot of exposure, so there's a lot of awareness. It's hard to pick favorites. I guess if we have to end up going with favorites, they end up being from a production perspective, not necessarily from a song perspective. And then again, so many parts of this show are full of gigantic production, so I don't know how to intelligently answer that, to be honest. Anybody disagree? Okay. There you have it.
Okay, Annie's Black Rain asks, are there any other genres of music that you guys enjoy? Or are you only strictly into hard rock?
I think we have a pretty eclectic taste, most of us. Even the all-metal Mikey iPod is no longer all-metal anymore. He's diversified quite a bit. We like everything. I'm not really a huge country fan, with all due respect. I mean, I still like my Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson, but can't really deviate much more in that direction as far as that's concerned. But we have a pretty wide palette as far as music is concerned. It really depends on our mood. We obviously gravitate towards the heavier stuff. We gravitate towards rock. Prior to a Disturbed set, the dressing room is full of metal tunes. That's what we use to get us pumped up. But in our spare time, I think we all have our own individual palettes, and they range quite a bit. Anything from, in my particular world, anything from opera to even some of the better forms of rap and hip hop, to reggae, to the classic metal bands that I still steep into, classic rock, to any number of things. I mean, I'm sure these guys.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, we could appreciate great musicianship, and a great song is a great song. We could definitely respect that. But like David said, I think our inspiration has always been through the classic metal bands. That's kind of what drives us and kind of is what gives us our therapy more than anything.
Okay, Kitty Kiss 2011 asks, what are some proudest moments as a band?
Apparently the camera guy's telling me to spit out my gum, kiddies. Here it is. There it goes.
Actually, Bob asks what flavor of gum was that?
What was the question?
Bob asks what flavor of gum was that?
What the hell was that? It was Dentine something or others, peppermint or some shit. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. That was the question?
No, so getting back to what are some of the proudest moments?
Oh, some of the proudest moments?
Mm-hmm.
You want to take this one?
Oh, there's a number of things, obviously, from the we showcased. We had labels interested in us and signing our first deal, making the album. I mean, there's just a number of things. Our first Ozfest was probably our first huge tour that we were on, being part of that festival. It was definitely a big stepping stone in launching this band and really being put out there in front of the masses, in front of large crowds, and it just seemed to snowball from there. So everything that followed that was just, continued to grow and grow and grow. But that's definitely one of the big early highlights in our career.
I think another one that we can all share is Operation Myspace. That we did at the beginning of the Indestructible album cycle, going over there, sharing our music with the troops. They tell us that they use our music when they go into battle. We just assigned today at Quantico, and we had the Marines telling us, you can't believe how much Disturbed gets played over in Iraq and Afghanistan, for that matter. And so that was a great moment for us to go over there and give back to them.
Thank you. Wild Theory asks, what exactly is the inspiration for the song The Animal?
Exactly. It is the old school werewolf movies that really originated with movies like The Howling, Wolfen, that led into the Underworld series. It really kind of speaks about the primal beast in all of us and how it's sometimes fun to let him out every once in a while and let him run wild. I love the whole werewolf mythology. I hate what's been done to it by the Twilight films. I think it's an embarrassment and a shame. No disrespect to those people who like those films, whatever, but to me, werewolves are supposed to be scary, not cute, and that's kind of where it comes from. Just embracing the beast, embracing that primal side in all of us.
From Kiriko095, it's a question for Mike. Who were the drummers that you looked up to the most when you grew up?
For me, when I first started playing, just about everybody back then wanted to be Tommy Lee, so he was a big influence at the very beginning. But once I started to own my chops and become a better player, I was looking for something even a little bit more advanced, and I started getting really into some of the heavier music. So Vinnie Paul was pretty much the main guy for me. He was the main guy who was not only able to play, as fast as all the other guys, but he pretty much invented the power groove. So definitely a big influence. It was just pretty much Vinnie Paul, main guy.
Okay, this one's from MKFan20. Another Way to Die is using the new Mortal Kombat trailer. Are you guys fans of the game?
I didn't know it was used in the Mortal Kombat trailer. I know that they were talking about some sort of involvement with us and the new Mortal Kombat game, but okay, that's great. I was fans of it back. I was a fan of it back in the day. We're talking about the classic, like stand-up arcade version of Mortal Kombat, and when we're really dating ourselves here, or I'm dating myself, but I was a fan of that. I never really embraced the home versions of it, but I'm curious to see what it's like, and I'd definitely be into it.
From Kino for Life, where do you get some of your ideas for songs?
It's really from life experience, unfortunately, for the most part, and just having your eyes open to a mad world that is full of chaos and persecution and destruction and abuse and injustice. And anytime you turn on the news, you can't really help but be smacked in the face by the brutality of the state of the world. And there's certainly a plethora of things to take issue with. And if you have your eyes open to it and your heart open to feeling what those things should make you feel, that's really where a lot of the material ends up coming from when it's global themes. When it's personal themes, it's from what we love to all affectionately refer to as the curse that continues to flow, unfortunately, from cycle to cycle.
Asylum 425 asks if John is going to do a bass solo.
Well, no, not going to happen. We're fortunate enough to, we've got 5 records of material now, to play. Great singles off every record that, we got to get out there to the fans. They expect to come and see. So it fills up a set list pretty quick. And I don't think I want to bore anyone with a bass solo when they probably pretty much rather hear Stricken.
But since John has come into the band, we've been a lot more liberal with having much bigger bass moments within the material. There's no question that there's times within many of these songs that the bass is soloed, so to speak. It's not a slow solo in the classical sense, but his precision and his playing ability have made us a lot more comfortable to go in that direction, and that's to his credit.
Covenant asks, I've been listening for years, and I've always wondered how you evolve in your sound with each album. Is it a conscious decision when you begin writing, or does it just happen naturally?
We all know what we like and what we want to lean towards, but we don't really have any big discussion on where we want to head with it. It's basically a natural progression of just, getting the ideas out. Whatever happens naturally, I come up with a few riffs, present it to Mikey, work on some beats with it. Once we kind of have a rough structure, John and David will kind of give them a copy of where we're starting out at. And then when they put their stamp on it, it just starts to evolve into whatever that direction is at that time. I mean, we definitely have those signature moments that are always going to be there. We're not going to stray off the path too far because we can't. We sound the way we sound. We play the way we play. David sings the way he sings. But we're going to push each other and experiment and try to keep things fresh at times, for ourselves, for not wanting to cheat ourselves out or the fans. We don't want to try to take the easy road and say, well, geez, the Sickness was the biggest success for us, so let's duplicate exactly what that was. Let's just try to write everything just like that. We're not going to cheat anybody out. We're just going to kind of let it happen naturally, and I think the fans have shown that they appreciate the growth in the band and the fact that we're just staying true to ourselves. We're just following our gut.
Adro 1992 asks, what advice do you have for people who want to start their own band?
Go ahead.
Well, one piece of advice is you definitely got to find other guys that are dedicated and want it more than anything. I mean, 24/7, that's got to be the number one priority in your life, and that's it. I mean, that's how we were in the beginning. That's how we still are. And if somebody's not, then they're just holding you back, and that's the hard thing. Usually you start a band with your friends or guys from school or whatever the case may be. But if that one person's got other priorities, there's nothing wrong with that. They just don't have the mindset it takes to follow this through. If some guy's more concerned about his regular day job or his girlfriend or family life or whatever, that's fine. That's their decision. But at a time when we were starting, we lived and breathed this every second of the day, and I think that's one thing you need to start with. And then from there, it's a matter of just trying to develop a sound, something that is unique in your own. Take your influences and don't copy them straight up like a lot of young bands have a habit of doing. Of course, you're trying to look up to your idols, but then they sound too much like them. I think you got to take those influences and turn it into your own. And from what we all grew up with and the way we all approached it, it's undeniable that once everybody kind of adds their part, that we've created a sound that is unique in our own. That's why people struggle with putting us in a certain category, because we've developed our own signature sound.
Rock for life. If you could tour in any city you haven't been in, where would it be and why?
We've been dying to get to South America. Why? We understand that one of the most loyal and one of the largest rock fan bases in the world is in South America. We've heard legendary stories of these festivals. We've seen the Maiden performances down there, the Metallica performances down there on video, and it's massive. And the followings are huge. It's definitely still a part of the world that we would very, very much love to be able to break into and really make our mark and create a home for Disturbed. And hopefully, at some time in the future, we'll finally make it down there.
Disturbed 01 asks, who have been some of your favorite bands to tour with?
Yeah, we've been really fortunate to have a lot of great friendships built through the many years of touring. God, I hate saying that, many years of touring. But we get along with everybody. We've had great moments with so many guys. I mean, whether it was our first Ozfest really being coached by the original lineup of Pantera, but when Vinnie and Dime were the party after the show every single night, to when it was us and the Mudvayne guys on one of the first Music as a Weapons, to whether it's the guys from 10 Years or the guys from Seven Dust that we've done so many shows with, the guys from Slipknot that we get along great with, the few shows that we've had the opportunity to support Metallica, we're good friends with those guys. We've been very, very blessed and very fortunate to have so many great relationships foster from it, and even currently in the current situation, the guys from Avenged are great guys. We all hang out after the show. The guys from Stone Sour, who again we got taking parts from Slipknot too. All these people are good people. We try to make certain that we're not surrounding ourselves with people that we can't get along with. There aren't really any that we found that we can't get along with. So it's always a pretty comfortable touring environment for us, and we look forward to establishing new friendships in the future.
Tic Tac 22 asks, will you ever be making a cover album? And if so, what songs would be on it?
Oh, I don't know, man. I think we're probably a ways away from that. It's not out of the question, but I have no idea where we'd even start as far as what covers we'd want to do. I mean, we have a hard enough time each record just picking one, if we pick one for the record. So it's certainly not out of the question in the future. It would be quite a ways in the future, I would expect.
We're going to swap out mics here.
Okay. That's okay.
Neuro's Wonton asks, what are your favorite movies?
I personally am a big fan of anything mafia-oriented. Whether it's the Godfather films or Goodfellas or Scarface or anything like that, I love all that stuff. Also a big Stanley Kubrick film fan, whether it's Clockwork Orange or The Shining or any number of his films. Huge fan of his work. Fan of a lot of Quentin Tarantino's films, specifically. Anybody else want
I like Step Brothers. It's a fucking Catalina wine mixer.
Yeah, anything with Will Ferrell, or I like Gladiator and Tombstone, two of my favorites there.
I grew up on Marvel Comics, and so it's real cool now seeing these movies that they can make that they couldn't do 10, 15, 20 years ago with the technology. So the Iron Mans and the Spider-Mans, that's just, I love that. That's cool.
Gloria asks, when did you guys decide to cover U2?
Just trying to think of another, obviously one of the biggest rock bands in the world, and also part of me personally, just a reason to piss off some of the haters too that are usually going to take jabs on us when we do this type of thing, and so it's nice to give them a little something to bitch about as well. But we came up with a great version of it. It was something fun to do. We had plenty of material already written, and it's a huge song. It's a worldwide song that everybody knows, and we thought we would just lay some tracks down and see how it turned out. And David's vocal delivery was great. The structure of the song's pretty close to the same, and obviously we just put our musical stamp on it. Like we always do. We just approach it to add some beef to the song and make it more of a disturbed song. But it's always just something that's fun and challenging to do, especially taking a song that's that worldwide known and that big of a song, and just have fun with it. And so that's why we kind of threw it on there. Our intentions of having it is just a little bonus hidden track and something for the fans, to have. And obviously with technology and popping it in the computer, you immediately find it, not like the old days where it might have taken a little bit of time. But Yeah, it was cool. It was good to do.
Slammer99 is asking, if you guys weren't in a band together, what do you think you'd be doing?
Be at the top of a bell tower somewhere with a 30-odd six. Probably. I would have lost my mind a long time ago if not for this band. There's no question about it. I know all of us had our career jobs. We all came from backgrounds where, everything else was a means to an end. It was all about what do we need to do in the meantime to get things to where they need to be, and as far as our own individual lives and stability are concerned, so that the focus can be given to the band. Mikey worked in a auto parts place in the Cadillac dealership, and Danny was basically a carpenter. Worked construction. John, I don't know what you did prior to music. Huh?
Anything and everything. Yeah, it's like David says, just what we did to as a means to an end. Music was number one, and so anything else I did was just something to pay the bills or fill the time until the next gig or the next CD that could be written or the next band that could be pushed. And we've all been the same way. And even though I came into the band after the fact, I think part of why it works is we all come from that same mindset of there is no stopping, there is no not doing this. It's not really it's not an option for us, and it never has been. Whether we sell 1 million records or not, we're always going to do this.
Yeah, definitely. I think going back to the earlier question on advice for any new bands is there is no plan B. Plan A, if everybody's on the same page, going to work hard for it. I mean, we're probably all used to hearing our parents at one point saying, well, you need something to fall back on. You can't just do this hobby forever. And, our parents and some of our friends who may have had their doubts or thought we need a plan B are the ones wearing the Disturbed shirts in the crowd and are our biggest fans now. And we love them for it. But we get it, but for us, there was never a plan B. Like David said, the jobs we had was just a way to survive and a means to an end, but it was all along. If we wanted it this bad and we're going to work this hard at it, then we're going to get to where, we're going to break down those walls and we're going to get to where we want to be.
Lost in the Ways asks, do you still get nervous before shows?
Not nervous. If there's anything that makes us nervous, it's production things. When we have as huge of a production as we've assembled with this particular tour, it can make you a little nervous, hoping that everything goes off the way that you hope it will. But the crowd is not a source of nervousness, not in a negative way in any way, shape, or form. It's a source of excitement. It's something that we really thirst for. We can't wait to get out there. It's excitement, but certainly not nervousness.
Brandon Huffman asks, what are your favorite types of food?
Well, we're all collectively fairly big carnivores. We love our meat. I think that we all just appreciate a good steak, good, nice, dry-aged steak. I know these guys are a big fan of actually finishing it with butter and Ruth's Chris or something like that, but I also gravitate. I know that John has a big Tex-Mex flavor that he loves. Yes, and myself personally, I love, I really love French cuisine, Japanese cuisine, any sort of Asian fusion, which I know the guys also appreciate too. But yeah, still, even myself, I can't help but be a pretty voracious carnivore myself. I can't stay away from the flesh. It's just good, man.
Red Sox fan 90 asks, what was the process to put Decade of Disturbed together like?
Should ask the guy who's filming the thing. He would know better than us. He's the guy, along with Rafa and 24 Core Entertainment, that put the whole thing together. So I know that it was meticulous and painstaking and a lot of hours and a lot of work, and it actually turned out really, really fantastically. So It's footage that's been compiled over 10 years of our touring life. It really it tells the story of how the band became what it's become today, and does it very thoroughly.
Questions from David. What would you like to do a soundtrack to a movie or a game? And if so, what would it be?
It would really depend, I think. It would really depend. We wouldn't be opposed to it. It would have to be the right movie, the right game.
How about TV show? Let's go with Dexter.
Oh, yeah. Love to do something for that. Well, we wrote a song in this grouping of material that was inspired by the Dexter series on Showtime, but it definitely would be a welcome thing. But it would have to obviously be a movie and or game that is in the spirit of what we do as a band. It would have to be something dark. It would have to be something, that's kind of meaty, something that's got maybe a little tinge of evil to it.
Okay, Metal Monster asks, what albums or bands have you discovered in the last year or two?
Well, I gotta say I'm certainly looking forward to, and have continually been impressed by our boys in Art of Dying. They should have a record coming out after the new year. They are kind of like, they're our first signing to the label, and they're just very, very impressive. They earned our crowd night after night in an alien environment to them. They really worked the crowd and had them won over 3 or 4 songs into every set, and they mastered it, and they made an amazing record with Howard Benson, and it is chock full of bona fide anthemic songs and a great combination of harmony and melody and great musicianship. So really looking forward to unleashing them on the world. And I gotta say, as far as this tour is concerned, I'm pretty blown away by Hailstorm, I gotta say. They are, I think, far and away one of the best new bands to come out within the rock genre in the past year, as far as new bands are concerned. As far as the classic records that came out this year, I'm still a huge fan of the latest Alice in Chains record, Black Is Way to Blue, and I thought that this past Deftones record was amazing too, and the new Avenged record. I have yet to hear the Stone Sour one. I've only heard a couple of things from it next week, but the singles that we've heard are amazing. But as far as new bands, Hailstorm is pretty damn killer. She's got an incredibly powerful voice. The band is very, very tight, and we're looking forward to big things from those guys.
Wildman20 asks, would you ever be interested in doing an acoustic record?
It's also something that's not out of the question. As we've grown throughout our career, and the songs have definitely increased in their level of complexity, they definitely do lend themselves. In fact, just as far as the arrangements alone are concerned, these songs could be broken down into any variety of styles. Hooks are hooks, whether they're guitar oriented or vocal oriented or rhythm oriented, and these are all strong pieces of material, and there are moments where we've gone acoustic, which whether it's live for Remember, or whether it's when we did an intro to one of our songs on the Believe record, Darkness, when we introed it with Fade to Black, and we started that off acoustic. We certainly are not afraid of it by any means. There is something to be said about what really is an unplugged Disturbed. I'm not sure, but we're certainly we'd be open to it, and who knows what the future holds. We've had discussions about it, and there may be some of that at some point.
Brooke asks, what city has the craziest crowd?
I think you really have to go to the other side of the pond for that, to be perfectly honest with you. If we're talking as far as the U.S. is concerned, many of the Midwestern crowds just pretty much trump anything A lot of the East Coast crowds are very powerful. But if you want the most powerful and the most rabid crowds on the planet, go to these European festivals. You won't see anything like it on the face of this earth. It is truly still a celebration of all things hard rock and heavy metal, and it's so nice to be able to go over there and still be immersed in that and feel the power of it and feel the unity of it. There really is absolutely nothing like it. Even when we go to New Zealand and Australia as well, the intensity of those crowds are definitely forces to be reckoned with. And that's right, people in the States, I'm telling you, you should watch this shit and learn, because they don't fuck around. They're very, very, very serious. It's like, we used to compare it, it's like going to one of the European football games, or soccer as we call it here in the States. There's no comparison to just the level of passion and intensity that those crowds have for even their sports. The only thing that compares is maybe college football here in the States as far as the level of intensity is concerned. So, sorry guys, but when we have to measure the two of you up, you got a little ways to go.
Okay, one last thing from Raven's Claw. Just wanted to ask if you guys had anything to say to your loyal fans that have been with you since day one.
So we respect their dedication. We love them, like we love our families, like we love our children. I mean, they're really so very, very important to us. We know the ones that have been there from the beginning. A lot of them are faces that we recognize already at this point. A lot of them are names that we recognize when they post on message boards. They think that we don't. We truly, truly do. We know who we are, and it's nice to see familiar faces in the crowd from time to time. It's nice to be able to know that people have stuck with us for the long haul, and they're fans for life and not just fans for a record cycle. I think that speaks volumes to the type of relationship that Disturbed has been able to achieve with its fan base. And we feel very, very blessed in that, and just know that we won't ever forsake that. It's the most important thing to us.
Thank you.
That it?
That's it.
Can I make a closing statement here, or are we
please.
done?
Please do.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you who have actually purchased the record Asylum online, okay, we feel, I think, that it's important to make a couple statements. Number one, as we have said in the past, it was our intention to have every single copy of this record come along with the Decade of Disturbed piece. There were some errors, apparently, in some of the setup of the sales, particularly on iTunes, particularly with the LP itself. Situations which we're very aggravated about, and which we are very quickly trying to rectify. We apologize for any inconvenience there may be, and know that we're fighting, believe you me, to try and make good on it. For any of you who went ahead and downloaded the deluxe edition online on iTunes, it is as simple as that it is simply not listed in the track listing. However, the Decade of Disturbed piece is in fact there. It is the very last thing that is downloaded. Am I correct, Mike? From all of the selection of things. And if you go to the Disturbed Deluxe Edition last item, if you pull up that screen, it gives you the dissected pieces, which is the instructional pieces, and it also gives you the Decade of Disturbed feature as well, through the video section. So you have to go into the iTunes LP video section. But we felt very important for us to point that out to you. We're very sorry for anyone who bought the regular LP on iTunes and didn't get that. Believe us, it was not our fault or intention. There was unfortunately a big fuck up, which we are trying to rectify, and which we are not in the least bit happy about. And we apologize. Just know that it is our love for you and our appreciation for our fan base that made us want to do this in the first place, and to get it to you as a gift, and it's still our intention to get it to you as a gift. So for any inconvenience that was caused, we apologize. We hope that you love the record, and we're looking forward to seeing you on tour.